Welcome to the new Paradigm Podcast, everybody.
Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're exploring something pretty unique. It's called the Paradigm Movement.
Okay.
And we've got a lot to go on. Internal documents, we even have a statement from them that's just like, it's about bringing people together.
Interesting. Sounds kind of vague, right?
Doesn't it? But they definitely know how to make a first impression, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in one of their internal documents, they lead with this really intense question. What would you do if faced with a choice between saving the world and watching it perish?
Wow. That's a pretty heavy way to start things off.
I know, right? Talk about a hook. So, based on what we've seen, how would you describe Paradigm?
Well, based on what I've read so far, it seems like they're positioning themselves as a direct response to all the huge problems the world is facing. They're not just about raising awareness, they're actually trying to make a difference.
Okay, so action over words. I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, something I noticed while I was reading through all this stuff was that they use the word empathy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. For them, it seems like empathy is really at the heart of everything. They're saying it's not enough to just understand a problem. You have to actually connect with it on an emotional level to really be moved to action.
That's a good point. It's like you can't solve a problem if you don't actually care about it.
Right, exactly.
Now, here's another thing that stood out to me. They keep bringing up money. They even have this line that says, we all see the signs the world's biggest issues often come back to money, or the lack of it. What do you make of that?
Well, it seems like they're saying money is both part of the problem and part of the solution.
Yeah, it's a bit of a paradox, isn't it?
It is. It's like, how can something be both the cause and the cure?
Right. Like they're trying to get us to think differently about the role of money in solving global issues.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, another thing I noticed, the name Prez keeps popping up everywhere.
Oh, Prez, yeah.
Any idea who that is? Seems like a pretty central figure in all of this.
Yeah, it seems like Prez is the leader, the driving force behind Paradigm. He's the one who's getting all the praise for pushing past obstacles and getting things done.
So we've got Prez at the helm, empathy is the fuel, and money as, well, we're not quite sure what yet. But let's talk about what Paradigm is actually doing.
Okay.
They have this project called Relics of the Unknown. Basically a character collection based on a science fiction story.
Oh, yeah, I read about that. Pretty wild stuff.
It is. So the story goes like this. The star Antares goes supernova and causes a massive meteor shower.
Right.
And these meteors contaminate Earth's water. And
that's where the superpowers come in.
Right. So this contaminated water gives people and animals superpowers. But there's a catch.
What's that?
It also causes some pretty nasty flu-like symptoms.
So superpowers and a nasty flu. That's a tough choice.
Yeah. Not the best trade-off, but obviously this is just a fictional story.
Right.
So how does it tie into Paradigm's real-world goals?
I think it's a way for them to engage people's imaginations, you know? It's a fun way to explore some of the challenges and possibilities of dealing with global issues without being too preachy.
I see. So it's like a metaphor for the difficult choices we might face in the real world.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really interesting. And then they also have Paradigm Social, which is their new social media platform that's about to launch.
Right.
There's this one part in the document about Paradigm Social that I found particularly intriguing. It's this idea of monetizing large numbers of people.
Ah, yes.
How do you think that fits into their overall strategy?
Well, remember how we talked about money being both the problem and the solution?
Yeah.
I think Paradigm Social might be their way of addressing that. It's like, what if everyday actions and interactions could generate revenue that's used to solve global problems?
I mean, that's a really bold idea, but how would it actually work?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
Would users get rewarded for their engagement? Would a portion of ad revenue be directed to specific causes? I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Okay, so a lot of unknowns there. But then there's this statement in their materials. Our promise to our followers, as well as our supporters, is if you guys do your part, we'll take care of the rest.
That's a big promise. But what does doing your part even mean in this context?
I don't know. Is it about donating?
Yeah.
Volunteering? Or maybe it's something else entirely.
Good question.
Maybe just being active on Paradigm Social is part of it. What do you think?
It's definitely possible. Remember, they talk about monetizing users. Maybe by simply being an engaged user, you're contributing to their goals.
Okay, so we're starting to get a picture of how all these pieces might fit together.
Yeah.
We've got Prez as the leader, empathy as the driving force, and then this whole thing about money being both a challenge and a potential solution.
Right.
Plus, we have these projects like Relics of the Unknown and Paradigm Social.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
It is, and we're only just scratching the surface.
Yeah, it is a lot, isn't it? But it is interesting how they're connecting all these different ideas, like the story, the social media, and the whole focus on money.
Totally. And it seems like they believe that by bringing all those things together, entertainment, social connection, and this financial empowerment, they can create real lasting change.
Yeah. It's definitely not your typical activism, that's for sure.
It really isn't.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, who exactly are they trying to reach with all of this?
That is a good question.
Like, are they going after people who are already super passionate about these kinds of causes?
Right.
Or are they trying to appeal to a much wider audience, like people who may not even think of themselves as activists?
I think they're trying to bridge that gap, actually. I think they want to show that anyone can make a difference, regardless of background or prior involvement.
Like tapping into the power of collective action.
Exactly. Like even small individual contributions can have a big impact when you've got a huge, passionate community backing them up.
I see. So it's not just about recruiting hardcore activists, it's about getting everyone involved.
Right. And it seems like they're trying to do that by making it fun, creative, and even a little bit aspirational.
Yeah, I get that. Remember that Relics of the Unknown story?
Oh, yeah, with the superpowers and all that.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just about facing challenges, it's also about unlocking some pretty amazing potential.
Yeah, it's a much more optimistic and engaging way to frame things.
Definitely. And that can be really appealing to younger generations, especially those who feel like traditional activism just isn't working.
Yeah, for sure. Paradigm is definitely offering a fresh perspective. It's like a whole new way of looking at how to create change.
Yeah, like they're saying, hey, saving the world can be cool and be exciting.
Exactly. They're appealing to our imagination, not just our sense of obligation.
Right. Which brings us back to their call to action. Do your part, and we'll take care of the rest. What do you think that looks like in practice?
Yeah, like what does doing your part actually mean? Well, I think it could be a lot of things. It could be as simple as joining Paradigm Social and engaging in conversations.
Right.
Or maybe it's about sharing their content and spreading their message.
So spreading awareness.
Yeah, and who knows, maybe it even involves getting involved in specific projects or initiatives they roll out.
Yeah. Do you think they'll incorporate financial contributions into the mix?
Oh, for sure. I could totally see that happening, like crowdfunding campaigns or micro donations, that kind of thing.
Right. Because they're all about that financial empowerment, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I wouldn't be surprised if they found ways for people to directly invest in solutions or support specific causes.
So doing your part might look different for different people.
Yeah, exactly. There's no one-size-fits-all approach. It's about finding ways to contribute based on your own unique skills and resources.
It's like they're creating a platform for collective action where individuals can decide how they want to participate.
Right.
That's really different from traditional nonprofits or activist groups. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Paradigm, what would you say are the key takeaways?
I think the biggest one is that Paradigm is forcing us to rethink how we create positive change.
In what way?
They're not relying on the same old strategies, They're blending entertainment, social connection, and financial empowerment in a way that's really innovative.
Yeah, and they're showing us the power of storytelling and imagination to get people engaged. Like, Relics of the Unknown isn't just a cool story, it's also a way to make us think about the challenges we face in the real world.
Exactly. And I think the most important takeaway is that they're reminding us that we all have a role to play in making the world a better place.
Yeah, whether that's through our actions, our contributions, or even just by engaging in meaningful conversations.
Right. Paradigm is encouraging us to step up and take action to shape the kind of future we want to see.
And that message seems to be resonating with a lot of people, especially those who are looking for a sense of purpose and belonging.
Absolutely. And it will be interesting to see how this movement evolves in the years to come. Like, will they achieve their goals? Only time will tell, right?
Only time will tell. But they're definitely shaking things up and pushing the boundaries of traditional activism.
For sure. They're challenging us to reimagine what's possible when we come together with a shared vision for a better world.
Yeah, it does feel like they've tapped into this hunger for something more, this idea that you can create change without it being all doom and gloom.
Yeah, I agree. And I think this brings up a really important question for all of you listening out there.
Okay.
Does Paradigm's whole approach resonate with you? Like, do you think this blend of entertainment and social connection and financial empowerment is a good thing?
It's definitely a new way of looking at, at making a difference, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They're not just asking for donations, they're inviting you to join a community.
Right, and to be part of a story and maybe even benefit financially while you're at it.
Yeah, it's not just about giving back. It's like they're trying to create a system that actually benefits everyone involved.
Yeah, exactly. And that opens up some really interesting possibilities. Like, what if this could work in other areas?
Like what?
I don't know, like education or healthcare, even scientific research.
It's almost like they're taking those ideas from like crowdsourcing and gamification and using them to solve real world problems.
Yeah, exactly. And if that actually works, I mean, that could be huge. Imagine a world where solving these huge problems isn't just a chore, but it's actually like fun and rewarding.
That's a pretty amazing vision. But can they actually pull it off?
I don't know. There are still a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, how will they make sure everything is transparent and accountable? Can they balance the entertainment side with actually making a real impact? And can they, can they actually scale their model? I mean, can they make it work on a really large scale?
Those are all really good questions. But even if they don't achieve everything, they've definitely started a conversation. They've got people thinking differently about how to create change.
Absolutely. They're challenging the status quo. They're pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Yeah.
And they're inviting us to reimagine the future.
So as you all keep exploring Paradigm and learning more about them, what should we be looking for? What are the key things to pay attention to?
Well, I think it's important to see how they evolve their model. Like, how do they engage with their community and how do they measure their impact? Are they actually making a difference?
Right.
And maybe even think about, could this model be used to tackle other problems? Could it inspire new ways of collaborating and innovating?
And I mean, ultimately it comes down to this.
Yeah.
What role do you want to play in shaping the future?
Yeah. Exactly. Whether you decide to join the Paradigm movement or just kind of watch from the sidelines, their story is a powerful reminder that we all have the ability to make a difference.
It's a call to action for all of us to think outside the box, to work together, and to find new ways to create a world that's better for everyone.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep. Until next time.